Well, welcome, Stu. How are you?
Glenn, very well. Yeah, it's. I think you're amazingly accurate here when you point out that we are in that situation where we are hitting the ground running here.
Oh, yeah.
We jump in. You come back from holiday break, and you're less than 2 weeks away from Iowa. We launch into basically full-out election mode immediately.
Yo.
And thank you. We got lots of technical.
It's a new year.
It is a new year.
It's a new year.
New year, new buttons.
Yeah.
So I mean, you go right into this, right? Like I think so many people you spend the previous year kind of like figuring out what the field looks like. What's this race? What is this, right? And it's got to be one of the strangest races anyone's ever looked at before, right? You have one side saying all they care about is democracy as they're trying to get the other guy removed from the ballot.
I have to tell you.
I
have to tell you. I cannot believe that this is their strategy. First of all, I don't know if you heard about Rudy Giuliani. He's broke now. They've wiped his savings out. He is absolutely broke.
There was a ruling against him for 9 figures, right?
And so he's broke. And that's the lesson. The lesson is we'll bankrupt you, we'll destroy you, we'll smear you. You will not survive. And the process really is also the punishment. It doesn't matter if they win or not. It really doesn't. They'll just keep going. With Donald Trump, the way these states, I mean, I could not believe that they're invoking the 14th Amendment and saying, well, part of an insurrection. He's not even been charged with an insurrection. Not even been charged. So they're taking him off because of an insurrection, something he was never even charged with.
They have 91 charges against him. None of them are insurrection.
None of them are. And so now you have 2 states taking him off the ballot. And there's 30 lining up.
Yeah, plenty of them are going to try to do it.
Let me tell you something. This should tell you everything you need to know about the Democrats. It should tell you how radical they actually are. They're saying that they want to preserve democracy, but this isn't true. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. If this goes through, and it's going to make Donald Trump more and more popular. I have no idea how they're going to arrange these things. It's going to throw everything into chaos. Joe Biden's numbers are going to continue to go down, and the Democrats have something that the Republicans don't, thank God, and that is the superdelegate. The superdelegate is something that the Democrats came up with after they saw Ronald Reagan elected. Here's this guy who was out of step with the party, was not playing ball with the party, but his grassroots effect just took off and they couldn't control him. And the Democrats saw that and they said, we can't have that happen to our party. We can never have that. Well, for many, many years, there's never been anybody, it's like Al Gore or Bill Clinton. Oh, geez, which one? It's not that big of a choice. They didn't have a Bernie Sanders that could stand up and actually do grassroots. Well, Bernie Sanders did. Bernie Sanders was not in their camp. That's why you saw all of the horse trading and everything else that was going on during the 2016 election. They took him out. Now, that was still not the full superdelegate thing. You're going to see it this year. I really believe the Democrats are going to do their superdelegate, which can vote differently than the public. So it's a hand-selected group of people that the party elites select, and if they feel for the party or for democracy's sake, the people have been duped, they can override their vote. And I think you're going to see the poll numbers going down so horribly that you're going to have somebody else besides Biden. And you can't have his vice president. And there's no way you can start a campaign now. It's too late. It's too late. You can't even get people on the ballot. Although they're strangely trying to get somebody else off the ballot, but you can't even get anybody on the ballot at this point. Superdelegates stand in and they say, you know what, for the good of the country, we need somebody that can unite us all, and that would be Michelle Obama.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow. You're starting off the year with this.
Because it just makes sense to me. It may not happen, but it just makes sense to me. Okay?
It's amazing because it shows the state of where Biden is, right? I mean, there's a new poll out today showing that, Trump is winning.
Clobbering him.
And even with like Hispanic voters and young voters and
black voters,
he's making massive inroads in these groups that are supposed to be just Democratic groups. We've talked about this forever. They just take them completely for granted, right? They show up every single time. They vote 80, 70, 80, 90% for Democrats, and they never really think about them again. That is not, at least in the polls, is changing in a big way. And at some point, you wonder, are they really going to go down with the ship with Joe Biden? Are they they are that dedicated to this man?
What is your choice at this point?
And then you get to where you are with Michelle Obama or someone similar.
You don't have it. Am I wrong? Do they have another choice at this point?
I think Gavin Newsom wants it to be Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but
I don't think
you get him onto the ballots everywhere? How does that happen?
It would have to be something within the party. And by the way, that's an important thing to understand with the Trump part of this as well. If these states tell the Republicans they're not going to put him on the ballot, the Republican Party can still make this happen for Donald Trump as the nominee. The question is in the general election where it becomes a problem, because they can change their own rules and tell people they can do all sorts of stuff to make sure Donald Trump gets this election if what people believe is that he's way ahead and they're just taking them off, trying to get him off the ballots. It's a different process when it comes to the Republican Party. But when it comes to the actual final ballot, that's a big, big, big deal.
This is Soviet Union stuff. I mean, the next step, honestly, is to put your opponent in jail.
But they would never try that, Glenn. Right? And then here they are trying that.
Here they are.
It's fascinating. I mean, and it's all under the context of an argument for democracy.
Correct.
It's all in this context that the media completely accepts with no sense of irony at all about it. That this is all about an effort to preserve democracy. If you trust democracy, then just beat Donald Trump. Just beat him. Convince the American people he's the worst option.
They can't.
Your 90-year-old guy who can't get through a sentence is going to be much better. Just convince them of that.
They can't.
But they obviously believe that they can't. I mean, even if they could, they don't believe that they can. Because if you believe actually in democracy, which I don't think that they do, at least the elements of democracy that exist in our constitutional republic, if they actually believed in those things, they would just come out and win.
Yes.
I mean, I went through a weekend this weekend, Glenn, where the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Arizona Cardinals, and the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Detroit Lions, basically blowing up what started as a promising season for the Eagles. And watching that, the end of that Cowboys game was horrible for Eagles fans because it really looked, and Detroit Lions fans, it looked like the Lions should have won. There was a controversial call, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And people, my Eagles friends are like, hey, can you believe that call? Beat the Arizona Cardinals and you don't have to worry about it, right? Go out and win the games on your schedule and you don't have to worry about the calls in the other games. This is what the freaking Democratic Party should be able to understand. Come out and win. Beat the guy you say is Hitler, and you don't have to worry about throwing him in prison. Just beat him.
They're just moving too fast. Look at, you have a situation now. Did you see the poll numbers with youth on Osama bin Laden now?
Yes.
It is crazy. It is crazy. It is 26%.
Oh my God!
Believe that he was not only had good ideas, but what he did was right. Okay, it's astonishing what's happening now. Why is that happening? Because of lack of education. We lived through it, and we did not show it all the time. We don't even teach it anymore. So all we're teaching is anti-American stuff. They don't know who Osama bin Laden really is. And what do you get? You get this. Their agenda in schools is working. We've already lost one generation. We may lose two. Okay? If that happens and we don't turn it around, America as we know it is gone for a while on Earth. It will be found again. God will not be thwarted. It may not happen in this country, but God will not be thwarted. These freedoms belong to him. You sit here and you look at what they're doing. They know they can't get all of the things that they need passed. So at the end of progressivism is either a peaceful transition or revolution. They're now choosing, I think, revolution if possible, if needed. They will not give this up. But they think they had all of the tools. The thing that they didn't count on was the American people. They didn't count on the middle of the country actually believing in something that they don't even understand. They didn't count on a Donald Trump or a Ron DeSantis or a Vivek Ramaswamy. They didn't expect the Tea Party. And for the people who invented the internet, they had absolutely no idea the monster that they unleashed when they put people and said, you can't talk on these media outlets when the internet was ready. So now what are they going to do? They have to affect the election, and they're also trying to take Donald Trump off of the ballot everywhere because they want turmoil in the streets. They have to have it. They have to have it.